All right, let's get right into it. For what feels like forever, picking an iPhone has been, well, it's felt like a trick question, right? You either buy the base model and get this feeling you're missing out, or you shell out hundreds more for the Pro. But this year, something is totally different. The real question is, has the base model finally actually caught up?
If you've ever bought a standard iPhone, this quote right here probably hits close to home. It's always kind of felt like Apple was deliberately holding the base model back, just to nudge you towards that more expensive Pro to get the good stuff.
But with the iPhone 17, yeah, that whole game just changed. So this year, it's like Apple has finally let the base iPhone 17 step into the ring for a real head-to-head fight with its Pro sibling. The question isn't, what's the base model missing anymore? Now it's, how little is it missing? And trust me, the answer is pretty shocking.
Okay, let's kick things off with what has always been the number one reason to upgrade: the screen. For years, the base model was just stuck in the past with a slower, dimmer display. Well, check this out. Not anymore. The screens are now identical. And I mean literally identical. Apple is using the exact same beautiful panel in both phones. Now, for Apple, this probably simplifies their manufacturing, which is smart. But for us, it means the base model is no longer a compromise. It's a huge deal. So what does that actually mean for you? It means the iPhone 17 finally gets 120 Hz promotion. That's that buttery, super smooth scrolling that just feels amazing. And it gets the always-on display, so you can just glance at your phone for the time and your notifications. These used to be the exclusive Pay the Pro Tax features. Now, they're just standard. Okay, so the screens are the same. That's massive. But what about the power inside? I mean, surely the Pro has this huge performance advantage, right? Well, let's take a look at the chips and ask a really important question. How much power do you actually, truly need? So the iPhone 17 gets the new A19 chip, and the Pro gets the A19 Pro. Here's the kicker. When it comes to the CPU, that's the brain of the phone that handles almost everything you do, there is zero difference. None. The only change is that the base A19 chip has one less GPU core, which is the part that handles all the heavy graphic stuff. And this chart just shows you exactly what that means in the real world. That one missing graphics core leads to about an 18% gap in performance, but, and this is the important part, only in super intense 3D apps and the most demanding games. For scrolling through Instagram, taking photos, sending text, you will feel absolutely no difference. Which really brings us back to this question. Honestly, for the vast majority of us, the power in the standard iPhone 17 is just, it's overkill. It's ridiculously fast and snappy for everything you do day to day. That little bit of extra GPU power is really just for a tiny group of hardcore mobile gamers out there. And what about battery life? Well, that's another area where the gap has just shrunk. The base 17 is getting a fantastic 10 hours of real-world usage, which is right up there with what previous Pro models got. Yeah, the 17 Pro is a little bit better, but we're not talking about a massive leap. And really important, both phones have the exact same wireless and fast charging speeds. So let's recap. The screen is the same, the performance for most people is basically the same, battery life is pretty much a wash. So, where's the Pro's advantage? Well, it all comes down to one thing: the cameras. This is the final showdown. Now, have a good look at this. The two cameras you use probably 95% of the time, the amazing 48-megapixel main camera and the ultra-wide, they are exactly the same on both phones. The photos you get from these are going to be identical. The Pro gets a few niche video features like ProRes, which is really just for professional video editors, but the real hardware difference is that third lens. And there it is. This is the Pro's one and only trump card this year: a dedicated telephoto lens. This is what lets you get those super crisp, high-quality, zoomed-in shots of things that are far away. That right there is the main thing you're paying extra for. Which brings us to the final, and let's be honest, the most important point of all: the price. It all just boils down to one simple question about what that extra cash really gets you. $300. That's the price difference between the iPhone 17 and the iPhone 17 Pro. Just keep that number right in your head for this last bit. So here it is, the whole story in one place. For an extra $300, you get exactly three things: that telephoto lens for better zoom, a very small bump in battery life, and slightly better cooling for those marathon gaming sessions. That's it. The screen, the everyday speed, the main cameras, it's all the same. And so that leaves us with this one question. For the first time in years, the choice is actually incredibly simple.
It's not about missing out on a better screen or a faster phone anymore. It really just comes down to this. Is having a better zoom lens worth $300 to you? And whatever your answer is to that question, well, that's the iPhone you should buy.